Hello, everyone. Luis Concepcion here from Strategic Profit Line Trading, coming to you with the plan of the week for week number 51. As always, here's our disclosures. This information is for educational purposes only. I'm not providing any investment advice. Past performance does not guarantee future results or success, and all investment involves risk. I'll go ahead and cover the news this week, provide a market overview. As you can see, we're in the last 2 weeks of the year, so things are slowing down. However, we still have a couple of good companies reporting. We are down to 68 companies reporting this week. Here's our results for week 50. We're back on the map after a losing week. Zones provided 12, went 3-0. And pay attention to Play and Adobe, which is David Buster's on Monday, as those are somewhat in progress, so you can still take a trade out of it if we're in the area Monday morning, in the event you miss those two trades. Here's our outlook for week 51. Again, Wednesday through Thursday is pretty much where we pick things up. So I'll do my best to cover companies that provide opportunities for this week. I went ahead and I added our wins for this week, and that brings us on the year at 139 and 37 on the year. So let's try to finish the year strong. Want to go ahead and remind everybody that we got some volatility coming into the market on the 18th, which is this Wednesday. And that's going to be the Fed watch on whether or not they're going to cut rates or not. This is as of Friday. As you can see, we are probably, Jerome Powell is going to pause things. As you can see, there's only a 4% chance. That has decreased over time, has gone by. But again, expect volatility and possibly no change, or he's going to pause till next year until the new administration comes in. So I wanted to share that with you. Just be mindful that rates may or may not get cut or paused this week. Moving into our news, as you can see on Monday, we have a slew of news for those of you trading futures and Forex. For those of you trading the euro, be mindful. Christine Lagarde speaking, so that might cause volatility over the evening. Moving into the U.S. session, as you can see, we got our PMI report. That's going to be 15 minutes after the open, so be mindful and pace some volatility, or wait till 15 minutes after the open to trade the indices. We got the Canadian dollar at wee hours of the night, so be mindful of that after hours on Monday. Moving on to Tuesday, a little bit less news. Canadian dollar mostly being affected, and we have core retail sales pre-market on Tuesday. And then you have GDP. I'm sorry, you have the British pound being affected by CPI in the evening on Tuesday. Wednesday is going to be the big day. We have Powell speaking pretty much in midday, whether or not dictating if rates will be cut, remain the same, or paused until next year. So be mindful of that midday on Wednesday. And then you have the Japanese yen being affected in the evening. And as you can see, it's tentative right now. So just be mindful that there might something might happen regardless of Japanese yen for those of you trading futures and Forex. Moving on to Thursday, you can see we got our GDP and unemployment claims pre-market. So expect some volatility at the open of the market based off of these reports. Then lastly, but not least, on Friday, we have consumer price index and we have retail core sales for the Canadian dollar free market. And that's going to do it for our news this week. Moving into our charts for this week, as you can see, I'm going to start with the SPX. You can see we've done a whole lot of nothing, and that's pretty much due to the holidays. This level has held twice for us, so I'm going to go ahead and move it down a little bit. And the new level in the SPY or S&P 500 is going to be 60.2159 to 59.84, and there is no supply in the S&P 500. Moving on to the NASDAQ. As you can see, NASDAQ went ahead and made all new time highs. Again, strong, one of the stronger markets First level demand level I have for you on the Nasdaq is going to be 29.32 to 26.10. Moving on to the Dow Jones, as you can see, the Dow Jones took a turn this week, made an all-new time high, and is weaker than the S&P and the Nasdaq. The first level I have for you is 433.72 to 429.35. And the rut following suit, our level has still held. It peaked his head above our supply zone, made an all-new time high for the first time in like 3 years, and it's retreating from that level. And the first demand zone I have for you is 22.27 to 21.94, and I'm going to leave this supply level in place. Just understand that it has been penetrated too, so the odds of this working if the rut decides to go make all new time high again is less, as this level has worked for us on 2 occasions. Now, moving on to earnings for the week. The first company I'm going to start with is General Mills. So on the demand side, 60.92 to 58.80, and on the supply side, 74.57 to 77.65. Be mindful that this level has already worked, and if the event of an overshoot, you got the 80.05 to 82.83. Next company, BIRK, on the demand side, 47.70 to 45.34, and on the supply side, 61.57 to 62.81. Next company is Toro. On the demand side, 76.31 to 69.98, and then 108.49 to 111.94 on the supply side. Next company is Micron. So for Micron on the demand side, I'm gonna go to the exterior levels here. As you can see, it's just been consolidating here for quite some time, really hasn't had any movement. This level has worked numerous times, 96.03 to 92.53 for those of you who are more conservative. This 84.67 level and 84.03 level also has worked. So these two levels have been holding Micron up. So if they decide to follow suit with the semiconductor, um, they might just explode to the upside or just maintain. With that being said, this is another level. Be cautious, 113.24 to 117.7. It's what's been holding Micron in this range between these two levels. If we have an overshoot here, we might make it to 129.43 to 137.11. So Micron's earnings will be interesting. Next company I have for you is Lennar. Excuse me. Continue building homes everywhere I see. However, they started showing weakness as soon as it made its all-time high at 193.80. On the demand side, first level I have for you is 141.46 to 137.26, and on the supply side, 173.28 to 177.44. Next company I have for you is ACN. So on the supply side, 373.57 to 388.39. Be mindful that this level has worked a couple of times. With that being said, in the event of an overshoot, you got the 405.90 to 418.52. On the demand side, 292.12 to 278.77. Next company is Darden. Another, I'm going to delete this because it's worked and it's penetrated through. All-time highs was 177.67. Demand zone I have for you is 144.43 to 140.26 with no supply. Next company is Cintas, made an all-new time high as well at 228.12. There's no supply in Cintas. First demand level I have for you is 181.81 to 176.88. Next company is FactSet, also made all new time highs in the previous weeks. No supply. First demand level I have for you is 431.68 to 421.80. Next is Paychex. Oh, Paycom, my apologies. This level has already worked, so be mindful and be cautious. As a matter of fact, let's just delete it. First supply level I have for you is 256.43. Call this 280. There's another level right above this at 280 to 299.44 on the supply side. So a lot of supply for Paycom here, and then on the demand side, 168.40 to 151.93. Next company is Congra Foods. On the demand side, 22.49 to 2020, and on the supply side, 32.34 to 33.68. Next company is CarMax. So for CarMax, again, this level has worked numerous times. Be cautious with this level at 86.86 to 88.29. However, the better level is at 90.54 to 93.53. On the demand side, 68.11 68 even to 64.68. Next company is Nike. So Nike on the demand side is going to be 74.36 to 70.55. And on the supply side, 87.87 to 90.63. Next company I have for you is FedEx. On the supply side, 312.20 to 320.32. And on the demand side, it has multiple levels here. So I'm going to call them out, 256 to 251. Then you have 250 to 247 and 244 to 239. With that being said, just call it 256 to 239. FedEx has demand. Next company is Scholastic News. On the demand side, 2057 to 1921, and on the supply side, 3717 to 3880. And the last company for you, which is on Friday, is going to be Carnival Corporation. On the supply side, 3182 to 3371, and on the demand side, 2214 to 2059. That's going to do it for the charts this week. For those of you who are not following me on social media yet, please go ahead and do so. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, feel free to email me. For those of you interested in courses coming up, I will start teaching again next year. So look for the website for courses if you're interested in taking a course. And don't forget to hit that subscribe and like button. Until next time, happy trading.